Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy. Man, oh man. Let's see. Kyrie Irving tells James Harden, "You're the point guard, and I'm going to play shooting guard," as Brooklyn Nets settle on roles. As the Brooklyn Nets' big three of Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving continue to work on building their on-court chemistry, Irving and Harden had a brief conversation at practice this week to clarify their roles. "We established that maybe 4 days ago now," Irving said, after the Nets' 134-117 win over the Golden State Warriors on yesterday. "I just looked at him and I said, 'You're the point guard and I'm going to play shooting guard.' That was as simple as that." Irving described the conversation as concise and matter of fact. "It's not a mystical conversation that we had," Irving said. In Saturday's game against the Warriors, Harden had 16 assists, raising his 11 assists per game. Average since joining the Nets in mid-January. It's the most assists he has dished out since the 2016-17 season, when he led the league with 11 assists per game for the Houston Rockets. Well, 11.2. It's 11.3 he raised it this year. "He's been taking control of the responsibilities and doing an incredible job," Irving said. "It just makes my job easier to just go out and play free and just make plays." When Harden, a multi-time scoring champion, was added to the next mix, an overriding question was, is one basketball going to be enough? Harden had discussed with head coach Steve Nash his willingness to play whatever role necessary upon his arrival from Houston. On Saturday against the Warriors, Harden and Irving and Durant scored or assisted on 100 points for Brooklyn. Saturday marked the 7th game the trio played together, including last week's matchup with the Toronto Raptors, during which Durant was yanked from the floor early because of the league's coronavirus protocols. Their record together is 5-2, including the loss to the Raptors that Durant was unable to finish. "I came to this team knowing that they have two special scorers on this team," Harden said. "Obviously, I score when I need to, but as long as I'm getting everybody involved and Kai is getting the shots that he wants, KD is getting the shots that he wants, it's pretty efficient. Offensively is not the problem for us. We can score in bunches. It's defensively. It seems like we're getting a rhythm as of late. We just got to keep it up." NBA veteran and Brooklyn, New York native Carmelo Anthony. Oh, sorry about that. That's another story. Basically, Kyrie Irving said it best. I mean, to me, my brother Kraken, shout out to him, he's the only one who believed that it was going to work out of everybody. He said, why wouldn't it work? Harden played point guard in OKC. And he said he don't see all of them having really an ego, like none of them have an ego. And they really don't. Kyrie Irving is a two guard. He's a two guard. The guy, when the ball is in his hands, he does wonderful things. Golden State could not stop them from going to the basket. That's what the Nets are great at. Not only that, Kevin Durant was making the extra pass. And Kevin Durant, I think he might be just as good, if not a better passer than LeBron. Seriously. He was making some passes. I was like, this guy, I did not know he could pass like this. Maybe I'm jumping the ship too much. Maybe I'm jumping overboard. But hey, I watched the game. Defensively, they played a lot better. But you could tell that the Warriors really have a good team. The problem is the Warriors need to fire Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr should have been gone. You should have fired Steve Kerr after like your first 14, 15 games. The guy's a terrible coach. His rotations are terrible. To me, He's not playing Pascal enough. Pascal has got to play a lot more. Pascal is a hidden gem for them. They really need to start working with him more. Oubre's fine. Oubre's going to be a defensive guy. If he gives you more than 5 or 6, maybe 7 points, that's a plus. Wiggins, I'm sorry, Wiggins is garbage. You've got to find a way to move Wiggins. If you can move Wiggins for another scorer, that'll be a big plus because they need another scorer to go along with Steph, and they're fine. Draymond Green, he did the best he could, but Draymond has got to work on shooting the ball and scoring. As far as a floor general, Draymond Green, I think, is the best in the game at being a floor general. I'm sorry. He's probably the best in the game. He's the best I've seen in a long time run the show. But he has got to learn how to score and shoot. You got to put that wine down, stop topping off LeBrownies, and get your ass back in the gym. Because, dude, your shot is terrible. Your free throws are terrible, too. Now, the thing I liked about what the Nets were doing, Brown, number one, Brown. I watched this kid the first time. This kid has some dog in him. He's going to be intricate to this team as a role player because he could battle for boards. He could pass the ball. He could shoot. He could defend. His defense was very key when he switched on Steph Curry. He was giving Steph Curry a lot of problems, bodying him. Then he was bodying the other guards and Wiggins at the forward. He was also battling. He was boxing out, which is surprising. Somebody boxed out, and he was getting a lot of offensive rebounds. Those are hustle plays they needed. And he was scoring around the basket. He was setting screens, setting picks, rolling to the basket, getting some easy 2-pointers. That was a key thing to me. More than what Harden, Kyrie, and KD did. They got something out of him. Then the bench. Joe Harris hit some big shots in the corner as well as the top. Joe Harris is going to be that guy. They need Harris to come off the bench. Joe Harris needs to come off the bench. You have got to let him come off the bench because he adds firepower. Shamet, you've got to move Shamet. I would move Shamet down and let Tyler Johnson play more of his minutes. And Luau Cabarro, he's going to be a defensive guy. But the Nets need a guy in the middle. Kevin Durant, as great as he is, he cannot keep playing center like that. He's too thin, and I don't want him to get hurt. You need him for the playoffs. You just need him for the regular season to get you to the playoffs. Whenever you get there, you guys can run it. Against the teams over 500, these guys are 9-1. Outside of them, the Utah Jazz. Them and the Jazz have the best record against teams over 500. This is going to be dangerous. Golden State, I'm going to go to Golden State. Golden State needs to fire Steve Kerr. Fire him right now. Fire him. Let somebody else coach. I'll let Mike Brown coach until I can find somebody because I think Mike Brown could do better than him. Seriously, this guy is trash at rotations and he is trash at in-game strategy. He doesn't know how to switch the strategy up. I don't know what it is with him, but he cannot play strategy basketball. He's terrible. So to me, Golden State, I think they'll at least get to maybe the 6. If they still got Kerr as coach, they'll barely make the playoffs. But if they get rid of Kerr, get a real coach in there, this team could be a 3rd or 4th seed. Seriously, they got the talent to be there. There's nothing wrong with their talent. Now, James Harden, again, 16 assists. James Harden is running the offense. He is a point guard. I kept telling people that even in Houston, he's a point guard. He just can score. And the reason I said that is because he's a gifted passer. I think he's a better passer than LeBron James. I've said this since he came in the league. I felt he was better. He's a better passer. He's a better floor general than LeBron James to me. LeBron just has the additive of having the refs on his side so he could get away with a lot of stuff. But this kid here could run. He could run the fast break and he could run the half-court sets. That's something that a point guard does. Kyrie Irving is a 2 guard. He's doing what he did when he played with LeBron. It's easier for him. See, that's all the Celtics were missing. If you would have traded Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, one of them, let Kyrie stay, brought in a point guard and then a backup point guard like a Jeff Teague, the Celtics would be the best team right now. I don't care what anybody say. I don't see Tatum and Brown being no elite guys. Brown, to me, has the talent to be the elite guy, but he has too much beta in him. Tatum has alpha in him, but he's just soft. He don't have that extra gear I see. Maybe it'll grow this year. Maybe his mangoes will drop this year. I don't know. But the Brooklyn Nets, to me, they could win it all this year if they get them a big man down low. Keep Joe Harris on the bench. Let Joe Harris come off the bench, because if you let Joe Harris come off the bench, that is lethal. There's nobody who could guard him in the second. He could put the ball on the floor and he can shoot. He can shoot off the dribble and he can catch and shoot. That is dangerous. That is dangerous in this NBA because a lot of guys cannot shoot off the dribble. So like I said, the Nets looked good defensively. Can they be better? Yeah, but if they hold a team under 120, that's a win for the Nets for what they are. If they can hold a team under 120, that's great. They held the Pacers the other night under 90. That was amazing. But against the great teams, if you're over 500, the Nets going to beat you. They're going to really get at you. They just suck when they play the sorry teams. It's like when Eli Manning, and this is a shout out to Sir Bishop. I give Eli credit on this, Sir Bishop. I'm going to give him credit on this, Sir Bishop. Eli Manning had a great record against the winning teams more than Peyton Manning. He did. Eli Manning, in his stretch of his career, he won better. He played the best against better teams. It was just the sorry teams he struggled against. So maybe we're seeing that with the Nets. I don't know. But looking at the landscape, the Bucks, they're good, but they're going to have a problem down the stretch. I don't trust their coach. I thought Budenholzer should have got fired, and they brought in another coach who knows how to get the best out of his guys. They needed a coach like Doc Rivers. If they would have got Doc Rivers, Milwaukee would not have a problem because Giannis would have stayed his ass in the post and they would have let Drew run the point. You wouldn't have had to have Middleton run the point all the time. You could have let Giannis run it a couple times, then get his ass to the post. Milwaukee, their problem with me is closing. The same with the Boston Celtics, closing. Those two teams are going to struggle down the stretch closing games. But the Nets and the Sixers are struggling to play against the better teams. They won some against them, but down the stretch, man, it's going to come down to Embiid has got to close. Ben Simmons, I would leave Ben Simmons on the bench down the stretch. I would play Shake Milton and I would run it because Ben doesn't have a shot. He doesn't do anything for you down late. I would let him play from 1 through 3 and I would let him play for the first part of the fourth quarter and I would sit his ass down. In the Sixers, I think I have a better chance to win. So, I mean, right now, the Nets, that game, that was a good game, even though it was a blowout. It was a real good game because you saw what the Nets can do when they're all working together. And they move the ball. They're not one man in the show all the time. So, but the Warriors, they just need to fire Steve Kerr, and the Warriors will be much better. Trust me. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, share this, hit the notification bell to select all to receive upcoming notifications. And if you would like to donate to the page, you can cash at me at the word welcome, the number 2, and then HDIITV. Thank you all for listening, and we're out. Daisy.